Hello everyone, it's Brian here with the first video response to random records selected by you from my record collection. Late last week I posted a video in which I asked people if they'd like to give me a cube number and a record number, and then I would pull those records and make a video. So truly randomized record selections. Obviously I got too many to make in one video. I think 42 responses so far, so I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do 6 today. And you feel free to add to that. I'll put a link below. If you want to give me another bin and cube and record number, that's fine. A couple of people chose, oddly, the exact same cube and bin as someone else, and I left a comment to say that. But if that was you and you wanted to suggest a new one, that is totally fine. I will add to it. So I have some notes here because I don't want to forget who suggested the numbers. So the very first comment I got was from Brandon at Mr. Hall of Fame, who said Cube 24, 24th record, please. Before I show you that record, I will say that Brandon, I think, has possibly the best record room I have ever seen. In fact, if you go to his channel, I think within the last few days he posted a room tour. There's been others on his channel, I believe, but really phenomenal, very well laid out. I just think it's a wonderful place. I can imagine just spending all of my time there. In fact, I think I'd move my bed down there if that was my record room. So if I've counted correctly, and I think I have for all these records, bin 24, cube 24, the 24th record is Uprising from Bob Marley and the Wailers from 1980. This was their last studio record. Now I know there was a posthumous record that came out after, which had some leftovers and whatnot, but this is the last true studio record from Bob Marley. And I think, like most people, Bob Marley was my entryway into reggae. Now I use that term lightly because I don't have a lot of reggae, but I really liked Bob Marley. And I will confess that the first Bob Marley record I ever owned was Legend, not one of the studio recordings. And that's just a fantastic collection. This particular record is very spiritual. It's got a very interesting design on the cover, very, very cool. So it does have some overt spirituality on here. And it does have my favorite Bob Marley song, which is Redemption Song, which is possibly an odd song to be my favorite from Bob Marley because it doesn't really sound like a reggae song, but equally as Could You Be Loved is on here, Coming In From the Cold. Really solid record. There they are there. I would say this falls in the top half of, if I were to rank Bob Marley records, this would be in the top half for sure. But, you know, obviously the saddest thing about Bob Marley is that he died at age 36. And my understanding is that he didn't pursue the best kind of medical treatment. He went for alternative medical treatment for cancer that he developed, some sort of skin cancer. He should have had his toe amputated, but he didn't. And then he died young. So tragic, so tragic. Here is the Island labels. So I would say a really strong record. Again, after Legend, I'm not really sure what I got next, but this is something that I do listen to from time to time. I think it's really great if you like reggae music. So number 2 from Joe Zanelli, someone who doesn't have a channel, but he said, I have no channel, just a loyal viewer, and he went really symmetrical, choosing Cube 7 Records 7, which is a Canadian band, which is kind of cool. This is a band from Newcastle, Ontario called Chalk Circle. Now there is an American band called Chalk Circle, a punk band. This is the Canadian Chalk Circle. This is called The Great Lake, which actually is a 6-track EP. The year after this, they released a full-length record called The Great Lake, but this was the original EP. They were compared to people like Echo and the Bunnymen, the Smiths, and even U2. I'm not sure any of those descriptions is quite accurate, but it kind of puts you in the category of new wave-ish. This is 85, so new wave, 86 new wave. So I think you can get an impression of what that sounds like. The big track on here was April Fool, which is a huge single here. Also Me, Myself, and I. Also Superman Meets the Man of Steel. I think this is a really excellent record. I'll show you on the Toronto label Duke Street Records. This band made a lot of headway. I think they got a lot of radio play, but I think they were a little underappreciated. If you were listening to certain radio formats, you would have heard this band. I'm not sure what their sort of commercial impact was beyond sort of alternative radio. But and I'm not even sure if they're still making music. They put out 3 full-length records. Don't know what they're up to now, but I think this is really good. If you ever see this, Chalk Circle Records, I actually think they're quite good. So you might want to check that out, even if you're not Canadian. Number 3 is from Glenn Calloway from the basement. He said, nice take on this, Brian. Wish I had thought of it. Hey, whatever. He says, been to record 11. And been to record 11 is from Arcade Fire from Montreal. This is called Reflector, which you may not be able to see here. Their 4th record from 2013, I think. It's a double record. If you're a David Bowie fan, you might want to at least listen to the lead-off track. Actually, the lead-off track on the album. The lead-off track on the CD is actually a hidden track that you can access, but the first track here, Reflector, features David Bowie at some points of the song. It's not very long, but you'll hear him singing on that track, which is very cool. So I didn't realize this until I looked it up, that this is based on, or at least inspired, or I guess inspired by Haitian music. I did not know that. It's a more danceable record, I guess, than their previous 3. My favorite Arcade Fire record will probably be Suburbs Forever, but I think it's really cool. Let me just pull it out here. So, I dropped the download code. Hype sticker fell out. So there's 2 records in here. Some dust on it. So apparently they recorded this in an abandoned Jamaican castle, which I think is very cool. It strikes me as being better than an abandoned like Scottish castle, because that would just seem cold to me. But this is, I won't take the record out because it looks the same, but this is the other record. So I think this is pretty good. It's one I've listened to. I would say of all the Arcade Fire records, I've listened to this one maybe not as frequently as the others, but I think this is a pretty solid record. The video is pretty cool, and it's nice to hear David Bowie singing at least a little bit. Number 4 from Midge's Vinyl Gems. I'll put links below to the channels that mentioned records. So Cube 26, record 9, Please, and that turns out to be a 12-inch single or a maxi single from Morrissey, and this is For Every Day Is Like Sunday, which isn't printed on the front. It's printed on, well, on the spine it says Every Day Is Like Sunday, Sister I'm a Poet, Disappointed, and We'll Never Marry. We'll Never Marry. Fantastic. I should have noted when it was really 1988. So yeah, from that early period of Morrissey as a solo artist. These are all fabulous tracks, by the way. And he followed that sort of trajectory of people like the Beatles, for example, and the Smiths even, who released a lot of singles that weren't on records. And then they were collected. I mean, I guess the first major Morrissey collection was Viva Hate. This is terrific, of course, but I'm a huge Smiths fan, and the early Morrissey period I think is fabulous, so all into that. So that's a really excellent choice. Number 5 from Mystery Ed. Also someone who doesn't have a channel, but it's Mystery Ed 7900 who comments frequently. He picked Cube 18, record number 9. He picked a favorite of mine from one of my favorite bands called The Hold Steady. This is Almost Killed Me from 2004. They were formed in 2003. This is their debut record. They're originally from Minneapolis. I think now they're in New York City, as everyone seems to move to New York City. This is a concept album. It features people that would recur or reappear on their second record, like Holly or Hallelujah, Charlemagne. So their second record, Separation Sunday, has a lot of these same characters. So it's a bit of a concept record. This is a reissue. The first version of this record I bought was actually on CD. I didn't get the vinyl. It's hard to find now. This is the reissue on this lovely blue vinyl. Here it is. So led by Craig Finn. He and Tad Kubler, who is the guitarist, one of the guitarists in this band, were in a band called Lifter Puller. I've tried to find their releases. They're on compact disc and one's on cassette. I think there's one vinyl. It's impossible to find. So I've streamed it. But this is a very solid record. Positive Jam's really cool opening. The Swish was a single on here. That's a really cool track. It ends with Killer Parties, which is this long, really cool track. This whole thing is great. I can't say enough about this band because I always love them. Barfruit Blues. Most people are DJs. That's hilarious. Certain songs. Knuckles, Hostile Massachusetts, Sketchy Metal, Sweet Pain, Killer Parties. fantastic record. If you don't know Hold Steady, I talk about them a lot. I think they come up a lot. I really think they are maybe the best band in the United States right now, in my opinion. So I'm going to do 6 today. So the next one is from one of our favorite people, Richard's Vinyl Tap House, who said, love this, great idea. Bin 31, record 31, more symmetry there, please. And that turns out to be a stone cold classic. It's Pere Ubu's The Modern Dance, their debut record from 1978. You know, if there's any record that I wish I could go back and hear for the first time, I think it would be this, even if just for the opening 2 tracks. Just, it's hard to describe this band. They call themselves avant-garage. Some people call it art punk. There's something about this record that is just so unexpected. You know, in 1978, if you were to think about records that released in 1978 and then listen to this, it'd be a little strange. There's some feedback at the beginning. And then the most unexpected thing might be Dave Thomas's voice, which is a very strange voice. Starts with, I'll just give you one track if you don't know it. Just listen to Non-Alignment Pack, which is the first song on side A, and just see what you think of that. I think it's just a phenomenal piece of music. I don't have everything they've released. I've tried. There's some things that I'm missing, but I just think they were fantastic. Of course, Dave Thomas died some time ago. I don't think there's another band that's like them. I mean, people will say Captain Beefheart. I'm not sure that's quite right, but some people say Devo. I don't think that's quite right either. Maybe they're incomparable. Here is the label on that. I don't remember the first time I heard it. I wish I could remember it because I probably would have said something like, what the hell is going on? This is so weird. I don't think I'd ever heard anything quite like that before. Really excellent band. I've loved everything they've done. Very cool. And of course, Dave Thomas was the only real consistent member over the years. People came and went and whatnot. So Pere Ubu's The Modern Dance. Awesome record. Okay, that's part 1. I'll be back at some point with more random records chosen by you. So thanks for watching.